And this is another installment of Funny Moments with the Caverleys. I had to share this story because everybody was laughing about it today when I posted on Facebook. I was telling some of my family members, and they said, "That's hilarious." My husband is sometimes a little crazy and doesn't like to admit when he's been outdone. Well, this morning, before he went off to go to his first college class, he had this CD in a package. It was a plastic package, and it was sealed. It was a program to put in on one of our computers. And he could not get this thing open. And he worked, and he was just and arguing with this thing. And he looks at me, and he says, "Miranda, can you see if you can open this?" He says, "I just can't get it." And so I took it out of his hand, and I kind of looked at it, and I thought, this is kind of taped weird. And I just kind of looked at it, and I went rip, and I opened it right up. And he said, "How did you do that?" I said, "I don't know, I just opened it up." And he says, "Well, you must be weaker than me, or not as strong as me." And I said, "Well, how is that? Shouldn't I, you mean I should be stronger than you since I opened it and you couldn't?" And he says, "Well, you have smaller hands than me too. And you probably, and you have more fingernails." I said, "Darling," I said, "if you notice, I have no fingernails. You can see, I have no fingernails. Okay?" And he said, "Well," and I said, "Dear, also, we have the same size hands. So, you can't use that excuse." Well, then he kind of sat there like, "Ugh." And he thought, "Well, your hands are just more delicate than mine." And I said, "Are you serious?" And he says, "Well, they are. Mine are rougher than yours, and you could just open it easier because your hands are more delicate." Alright, whatever. Anyway, so then I posted it on Facebook, and I told my family, I said, "My husband is sad. He is just sad because he will not admit that I could do something that he couldn't, and he had to find the lamest excuse." And I thought about the episode of The Cosby Show. Well, where Elvin comes into the kitchen and Claire's trying to open a jar of pickles, and she can't. And Elvin says, "Well, that's a man's job to open that jar of pickles." So Elvin sits there, and he's trying to open this jar of pickles, and he can't. Well, his girlfriend, Sandra, comes down the stairs, and she says, "What are you trying to do?" He's like, "I'm trying to open this jar of pickles." And she says, "Well, let me try." And and she pops it and opens it right up. And I and I thought of that. But my husband is just sad because he's standing there trying to find an excuse of why I could open this package and he couldn't. And you know, I think what it comes down to is, ladies, sometimes you got to be smarter than the package. And I think that's what it comes down to. You got to be smarter than the package. Maybe I was. Maybe he wasn't, but that was our morning. That was our whole conversation before he left. And so I just thought you'd enjoy that story. And this is what happens with married life. I can't explain why he just won't admit. But he even wrote on my Facebook and even wrote to someone and said, "Well, she has delicate hands. I don't." And the person actually wrote back and said, "I have no idea how this relates to this story, Jeremy, and how having delicate hands is relevant to why you couldn't open it. But whatever makes you feel better." That's what she wrote. So, hope you've enjoyed this funny story, Funny Moments with the Caverleys, and we'll see you next time. Bye.